Ladies and gentlemen, open banking pioneers, I am delighted to welcome you to our first API deep dive session as part of our Open Finance Appathon. So maybe I should have started by saying, ladies and gentlemen, Open Finance pioneers. This is a competition that is supported by Mastercard and AWS. Today, we're going to be focusing on Finastra's APIs, but I would just like to talk to you a little bit more around the competition. It's all around driving innovation, and it's to inspire you to create market-ready product. Now, at OBE, we believe that collaboration drives innovation, and we've brought together three of the best API providers: Finastra, who you're going to hear from now, YTS Yolt, and Railsbank. So during the course of the next couple of days, we're going to be doing 3 deep dive sessions so you can actually learn more around the product. Now, if you'd like to learn more around the competition, please, will you go to our LinkedIn site and you can see content that we've produced with Finastra, Railsbank, and YTS around the challenge statements. Now, there are 4 challenge statements. Open finance for good. Clearly, we would love to encourage everybody to put their thinking hats on and be very innovative, to use some of the best APIs in the industry to solve the problems of COVID and really get some exceptional use cases. We've then got corporate and retail and SME and payments. Payments is very close to our heart. We believe at Open Banking Excellence that payments should be ubiquitous. That's open banking payments. Now, if you look at the bottom of your screen, you'll see our QR code. And what that actually means is if you scan your phone, scan your mobile phone during this session, you'll be able to make an open banking charity donation. So make a charity donation to one of our 3 chosen charities using open banking payments. But what I'd like to do now is, in a moment, I'm going to hand over to Felix, who has got a presentation and he's going to talk to you about Finastra's APIs. But I would like to say, first of all, thank you very much for joining this competition, and also to encourage you all to put on your thinking hats. This is an opportunity, a real opportunity to solve some problems. And we work in this amazing sector that is full of very clever innovative people with lots of ideas. So we're asking you to bring your ideas together and to solve part or all of a complex problem. So what we're looking for you to do is to galvanize your teams. That's your product, UX, and developers to make a market-ready product. So without further ado, what I'd like to do is pass over to you, Felix, and for you to go through your presentation and give everybody more detail around your APIs. And during this session, if anybody wants to ask questions, we have Slido at the side of the panel. Please ask questions, don't be shy, and Felix and I will answer them for you. So Felix, over to you.
Sure, thank you. Yeah, thank you, Hélène, and thank you for the nice introduction. So let me share my screen indeed, so we can go to this part. So okay, here we go. So hopefully you can see my screen. So first, just a few words about me. So I'm heading the product management for FusionFabric.cloud, and so the product I'm going to present you and what Finastra is building as part of the API platform. I'm based in Paris, and I'm very happy to have the opportunity to present this platform to you. So before I jump to the platform in details, I will just do a short overview of Finastra and why it is important in this context of APIs and contest on all the topic that Hélène presented. The fact that Finastra is a large fintech, so we're the 3rd largest fintech in the world. And what's really interesting, it's the size. So you see what the size is important here. So we are almost $2 billion company with 10,000 employees, and the scope of what we are doing. So we are doing retail banking, payment, corporate banking, and capital markets. So this is a very wide different area of the finance that we do cover in Finastra. On top of that, we do have almost 9,000 customers, so 8,500 customers. And by customer, we mean banks. So we have, this is the number of banks we have. I will not go into all the details of our customer, but we have a big customer like a tier 1 bank to very small customer called Community Bank in the US. So it's a very scalable solution where we are able to cover small bank, big bank in retail banking space, but also corporate banking. So very wide area that we cover through the Finastra software. Also very interesting, our coverage, our world coverage. Our customer, they are based everywhere in the world, as we are Finastra with our offices and employees. So we can see that we have a large presence in the US, 56%, but also a very good coverage in the rest of the world. So we're really a truly global company, and this is what makes it very interesting, because through our product and platform, you can reach out to a large population in the world. So that's very relevant in the context of this contest, and that's something we're very proud of. So not only we do have this large number of customers, but also if you look at our market share, you will see that we do have a very large, interesting share in some area. So I will take the syndicated lending space, where we have 67% of the market. So what does it mean? It means that if you want to build something that connects to our syndicated lending software, if you do that, you will have the opportunity to reach out to 67% of the market. So it's a huge number and opportunity. Same if you look at the trade finance. The trade finance is a very important topic in the world trade business. 6% of it is happening in a Finastra system. So again, if you are building a software, if you're building an app using the API that do trade finance, you will be able to reach out to that number of trade finance system in the world. So it's extremely interesting and a large number. This market share is extremely relevant in the context of building a extension application. So that's the market basically that we can open up thanks to Finastra. So what's the next step for us? Basically, based on this large powerhouse of software, market share, and regional coverage, we have decided to say, okay, why don't we open up all the software so fintech students, banks can use this richness in order to leverage it and build APIs and build application on top of those APIs. So this is what we built. We built FusionFabric.cloud. So this is the platform I'm going to present in more details. So on one side, what we do, we sit on top of all the product I was mentioning before: retail banking, corporate banking, lending, payment, capital market. So that's the core system from Finastra, the one I was presenting before with the market share and the presence. And what we have done, we have opened up APIs on top of all the software. So this is the bottom part you can see here. And we have put APIs on top of each of them. So that represents the accessible product and accessible business. On top of it, this is the people who are going to connect to the platform in order to build extension. So you can see FinTech, Finastra developer, obviously, system integrator, financial institution, independent software, but as well university. And this is where, in the context of this hackathon, we're going to let people use this API. So the idea is to create a network of consumer on one side. So the consumer are going to be the bank and the people who are using the Finastra software, and the producer, which is on the top. And this is the people who are going to build innovation on top of our product. So again, if you look at the previous slide I was showing at all the market share, this is the opportunity to create innovation and create new application that can really change maybe the way the software is used, the way the business is made. So it's the opportunity to create innovation. And this is what we want to offer to you, thanks to all those APIs that we have built and you can use in order to build all the software. So what can we do with those APIs? So we have decided to put in this slide a couple of examples just to give you some inspiration and show that the richness and the wide coverage of the APIs. So here we took the different area we do, retail banking, corporate banking, payment, capital market, and community market. And we put on the bottom some example of API. So today, as you see, we have roughly a dozen of API on each product. Some of them are very rich, corporate banking with 45, but you can see we have a very good number of APIs on all the product. And you can see here as well the core product that we support that. So it's not so important to know, but in retail banking, it means that we have those different systems called Equation, Essence, that are behind the scene available for developer to build extension. I will not go into all of them, but you can see I was mentioning before the trade finance. So you can see on the corporate banking, the trade innovation product is here. This is the product that allows to power trade finance, but as well the syndicated lending one, Loan IQ. And so on and so forth. So we have a lot of Finastra product available to this API that will give you ability to create innovation. And what we have put here as well is the apps that has been built either by a third party, so FinTech, etc., or by Finastra, because we also can build apps. And you can see that on each of those API, we have built or FinTech have built very innovative solution. On the payment, for example, we have the fraud detection that is built on top of the API. And on community market, we have tools that allow automatic saving for people. So RoboSave is a tool that facilitates ability for people to make savings. So there's a lot of apps that has been built already, but what we want to do is to give you the opportunity to innovate on top of that and bring even more innovative applications. So that's really the purpose of those APIs. So let me show you how it looks. So the platform itself. So it's a web-based platform, so it's very easy to access it, and as well, it's a public platform. So it means that you don't need to go to some login process, etc., to get access to it without even registering. You just go to developer.fusionfabric.cloud and you can access it. So it's over the internet and freely accessible. So the first thing I want to do as a developer, so if I take the hat of a developer who want to leverage this API and do something, I will go to the home page and I will just click on the Explore button, which will be the first step. And here you can see that all the API we were mentioning before are organized by area. So we call that solution. So you can see consumer banking. So this is where you will see the retail business. We split the retail business between US and rest of the world, because in the US, we are targeting mainly the community bank. So it's a specific market, but you can see here, this is the US part, and here's the rest of the world. And then the corporate banking with all the API that you have seen before, related to the trade finance, related to the corporate banking. So you can see some example here. So you can see lending, you can see here trade finance here, trade and supply chain finance, and corporate account management. So you can see that here. You can see the lending part, which is the consumer lending part here, mainly US driven, as well as the payment, which is as well a big part of this hackathon. So you can see the richness of all the solution available. And finally, to mention capital market as well, so portfolio optimization and trade execution as API. So what makes the Open API so interesting and unique compared to the classical SDK that we add on our product is the fact that they're completely public and documented. So let me take an example. If I'm taking this API, I'm clicking on it and I can see that below this solution, there's two API. Let me click on one. And here you will see immediately that the documentation is available here. So I can see if I want to do an initiation of payment, I can see the input parameter here that I need to pass, and I can see the response. So here I can see the payload that I'm going to pass to the API and the response. So it's fully documented and very clear for the developer. So we use standard, so it's following the Open API standard. So we have a Swagger, and that can be used easily through Postman collection. So I'll show you that in a minute. So that was for payment. If I look at another solution, so I will take, for example, the trade finance that I was mentioning before. I click on it, and here I can see below this solution, I have 4 APIs. So one to import a letter of credit, which is one of the key elements of the trade finance business. I click on it, and you will see that the look and feel and the logic is exactly the same. So it means that you don't need to worry about the underlying product logic, whether it's a trade finance product, a lending product, or a retail product. You can just look at the documentation here that is completely transparent and complete in order to use them. So that's the power of the Open API and this public developer portal. It really opens up the possibility on transparency, because in order to use it, you can just look at the documentation and get started immediately. So that's really the power of this solution. So now that I have explored my API, and the next step obviously is to test them. I want to build a product. So learning the documentation is one thing. Now I want to build a product. So if I want to learn a bit more before I jump into the development, I can look at the documentation that is here, and again, completely public, where I can, there's multiple sections that will explain me how to explore the API, how I can get started with some video sample and video tutorials, as well as a much more deep dive understanding on the API logic. So showing the details of the APIs, how I can make a postman call, or I can manage the different authorization of the API. The security aspect is completely detailed step by step. So it's allowed to guide me and give me all the step-by-step information. So that's very important for me to get started. And if I want to look at the deep dive of the platform, I can see much more information here that explain the different technical concept about that. And finally, there's as well examples available, all published on GitHub. So if I click on one of the sample, it will bring me to a GitHub repository that where I can see the source code and everything to help me to get started, basically. So that's what we offer completely publicly. So this is fairly complete, and without even registering to the platform, you can explore it, understand the different APIs, understand the logic to the documentation, and get you prepared to build your application. So now the next step is to build and create the product. So here for that, I need to register. So you as a fintech or as a company, you can just click on the register button in order to sign up this form. So it's a very short form and very quick to do that. So on my side, obviously I'm already register. So I will just sign up, and you will see what's the difference between being signed up and not being signed up. So here I'm registered, so I've just signed up as a user, and I want, let's say, to build test an API. I want to test the API. So this is the difference between browsing the platform without being signed up and testing the platform being signed up. By being signed up, I can test the platform. I can do API calls. I can really start my work and use the sample. So in order to do that, it's very simple. So let's say that I want to build an application that will retrieve account information from my account. Very simple. I want to retrieve the list of account. So what I will do, I will just select this API in order to build an app. I will register my application. So I will give it a name. So I will say a test Appathon, for example, something simple. The API that I want to use is pre-selected, as you can see here. So I can just have some classical terms and conditions I need to accept. Not a big deal for this demo. I got a summary of the application I've created. So I have selected one API, which is here, and I want to create register this application. So let me register it. So the moment I have done it, I can see different things. I can see a client ID, and I can see the API that has been selected. So in order to test it, I will use an open source tool called Postman. So it's going to be just a bit more technical, but I wanted to show you the different steps. So I can see the API here. I can just download the Postman collection. So I click a button here. You see the file is downloaded. I go back to my application, and I will want to test this API. So to do that, I will launch my Postman tool. As I said, it's an open source that you can download freely. That will allow you to call the sandbox, because what is happening behind all those API, we are powering what we call sandbox. So all those API are connected to a live Finastra system containing demo data that you can use in order to build your application, which means that completely from the web, you can not only browse the API, but as well build something and test something. So that's very useful. So I will create a new workspace. See, it will be very simple. So I've created my new workspace. I will import the file that I've just downloaded. There we go, it's here. I'm going to import it, and I can see here the API that are ready to be used as downloaded. So now I just need to configure a few things related to security because it's only available to register user. So I will select the authentication mechanism, which is OAuth2, so industry standard, nothing special. For my token, so this is where I will modify the client ID and secret. So I'll go back to my application that I've registered. I just copy the client ID. I go to my Postman. I put it here. I'll generate a key. Here, I'll copy here. And I'll copy my key here. And that's it. Here I have register my secrets and the client ID. And I can request my token, which is going to be the authorization to use the API. So the token is generated. I'm using the token. I'm going to update my request. And now from now on, what I can do, I can call my API and I want to retrieve the list of accounts. And I can see here the list of accounts that has been retrieved on the system that is connected. I can launch another request to retrieve a balance, and I can see here, this is the balance available for account. So you can see that in a couple of clicks, we can interact with this API, start to build my first true Postman application, and then with any language that is suitable, so I don't know, JavaScript, .NET, or whatever, I can start to program and test the API. So you see it's fairly simple and fairly easy. As I said before, there's a complete documentation. So everything that I've shown here is standard. So we use OAuth2, we use Open API, so there's nothing specific to learn. But the documentation is still explaining in details the different logic to do that, from using the Postman collection to explaining how the OAuth2 is working in order to help you and support you. So I mentioned the API, and if you still need some have question following that, you can obviously go to the community page of the platform where you can ask question, and you will get an answer from not only the community but also dedicated Finastra support that will come back to you on your question in a very timely manner to support you. So it's a fairly complete developer tools from the tooling, the APIs, the documentation, and the support in order to help you to build this application. And finally, once you have built your application, tested it, what you can do is to publish it to the store in order for us to see all the application that is going to be submitted. So if you click on the store section, you will see a list of applications that has been completely developed and published by FinTech. So I will let you browse it again, completely public, all the applications that are available. So if I look, I will take an example, the one I was mentioning before on the automatic saving management. This one, you will see that it will contain a description of what it does, a short video to explain what this application is doing, and you can look at the API that are consumed by this application. So once you will finish your development, you will be able to publish in this section your application, and they will be visible to the community, visible to the people who are going to be judging the application in order to be able to understand what they do some voting, and test that. So it's the power of this open platform ability to go into more details from presenting something high level, go into more details to build application, test it, and finally publish it. So it's a full ecosystem that you can create and be able to publish your application so it's visible to the community. So that was for the complete walkthrough of the developer platform. So that was this part. So I've been a bit quick and trying to cover most of the thing, but obviously if you can go live on the platform, explore it, look at the documentation and the different sample, and you will see step by step everything that I have done, which is again really a market standard and classical practice. So nothing specific to learn here. I've also been through the application, so the store. So I do recommend you to go and have a look there to understand how those applications that you're going to build can be published, advertised, and make visible to the public, including for this hackathon, where you will be able to publish your application and make it visible to the judges so they can vote and select the best application. And that was it for the global walkthrough. And now I think it's time for a question, if there are any.
Felix, thank you very, very much. There are some questions, but we'll send them to you afterwards. What I would like to do is, first of all, thank you for that very, very comprehensive and detailed walkthrough of your APIs. We pitched this as an API deep dive, and you certainly did go into that detail. Now, what we'll be doing is we'll be posting this online, so people can share it, and they can, there was a lot of content that you went through there, and they can walk through it again.
Sure.
We all live in sort of very busy worlds. I don't know about you, but I generally have some time at the end of the day, and particularly at the weekend when I'm on my turbo trainer, to go through a lot of the panel sessions. So I would suggest that was some amazing, detail there, that everybody that's watching does the same. What you can do is on the side of the screen that you will see some details about how to get into the sandbox. But again, all of this will be put on Open Banking Excellence's LinkedIn page, so that you can contact both myself and Felix via there as well. So all that remains is for me just to talk to you a little bit more about the competition. It is a competition, and if you go to our website at openbankingexcellence.org, you will see that there are 12 judges from across the industry, that all have a huge amount of experience in building product. And you will also see that this competition has some prizes, and the prizes are $5,000 worth of AWS credits, and Finastra are very kindly giving $5,000 of free APIs for consumption for the first 6 months. So very generous, Felix. Thank you very much. And all I would do is to say that you've been watching the very talented Karina at the side of your screen, graphically recording everything, as she always does at OBE, and we will be sharing that with you as well. So without further ado, what I would like to do is thank Finastra for being part of this competition. It was actually in part inspired by you guys, and it's been an absolute pleasure working with you. So I hope that today, our first deep dive session, Felix, that you've inspired everybody to create market-ready product, and importantly, galvanize their teams, that's product, UX, and developers, to create that market-ready product. So hopefully everybody now will be putting on their thinking hats, getting visioning, and start developing using your very rich APIs. So without further ado, I would like to thank everybody for tuning in, and wish everybody the very, very best of luck with the competition. Thank you, and stay safe. Bye for now.
Thank you.